are laid with hose pipe, and the pipe comes down the tower to a water tank, and at a certain point, they turn on the pump, and they operate like sprinklers, basically. But if you imagine like a metal grid in the air where every joining point of pipes is another sprinkler head, and I think we had 2.5 football fields worth of, where we could soak at the push of a button. All the rain starts, and
Holy shit!
Yeah, because you see I don't know if you've ever seen the movie, but there's these big wide shots of all these people running towards the ark, and there's rain falling. So we had that whole area had to have rain.
So here it is.
Yeah, right.
That's incredible. That's all done with towers.
Yeah. Oh, that's after I think I've already run in at that point.
It was such an intense movie because the story is so crazy.
Yeah.
It's the time-old story of the savior of the human race after God's wrath.
Yeah.
There's a lot of weight playing a role like that.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah. What I thought was that the funniest thing with that stuff is when that movie came out, all of this sort of pushback press about how, oh, look at this, Darren Aronofsky, this New York elite, has made Noah into a story about the environment. It's always been a story about the environment. What are you talking about? This is about a flood, mate.
Literally.
It's like, what? But it was just so weird. And it was like article after article pushing back as if he had done something, against Christianity or whatever by
connecting
by
it to the
acknowledging that this is a story about our environment and how we treat our environment and blah blah blah. I quite enjoy the film, but it's harsh. It's a harsh, telling, But he did promise me, Darren, at the beginning of that experience, he said never at any stage, which I thought was funny, because he was riffing off a thing that Ridley Scott did. Ridley Scott said, I promise you don't have to wear sandals, and I promise you never have to lie on a couch and have somebody feed you a grape. So let's do a Roman movie. So Darren's version was that never at any stage will I have you at the prow of an ark flanked by a giraffe and a lion. Because the funny thing with Noah, man, is most people think they know what's in the Bible. But in reality, what most people know is what they read in the Golden Circle children's book of Noah. Mm-hmm. They've never read the very few mentions that there are in the Bible or the other religious writings which cover his story. Because there are other writings from pre-biblical that never made it into the Bible.
The Epic of Gilgamesh. It's a very similar story.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
There seems to be some sort of a historical tale that is repeated through many cultures of a great flood.
I don't think there is an ancient religion that doesn't have a flood story.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. And we can see it. We can see and date it and everything with how we can view our world now with the science that's come along. Mm-hmm. So there's no doubt that there was a flood, or has been many floods probably.
Well, the real hardcore people think they've located Noah's Ark. They've located the remains of it on Mount Ararat.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's this bizarre feature in the rocks that they believe is where apparently it matches the Bible's description of the actual size of the ark.
Yeah, it's odd, isn't it?
Well,
because if that's there, we should be able to have definitive proof then.
It seems like somebody should have gone there and figured that out yet.
Right?
It's probably been discredited. You ever familiar at all with the work of Randall Carlson? Do you know who he is?
A little bit more context.
Randall Carlson is an expert in asteroid impacts. And he kind of specializes in this theory about the Younger Dryas impact. Right. And the Younger Dryas impact is somewhere around, they think there's multiple times this happened, somewhere around 11,800 years ago, and again, somewhere in the 10,000s.
Right.
That this is what happened that caused the end of the Ice Age. This is what caused the great flooding across North America.
Right, and doesn't that date coincides with what would be the end of Göbekli Tepe, right?
Yes.
Right.
Yes. It coincides with that, and it also, there's a lot of physical evidence of it with core samples, and this they used to be kind of a fringe theory, but they started doing core samples, and they found a high level of iridium, which is very common in space, very rare on Earth during that same time period. But what's really interesting about this guy is he got this idea when he was overlooking this enormous canyon while he was on acid, and it occurred to him that this is because of not just a river that ran through this for thousands and thousands of years. He felt like it was one immense event that took place. He just had this bizarre vision of this immense event that took place.
And now they're talking about those cataclysmic events not being something that is a build and through a period of time, right? It's talking about it being immediate, right?
Yeah, immediate.
So
they
it's
think
like
the Ice Age
in a
ended
day this happens.
Exactly. Yeah, his work is absolutely fascinating.